Question. Why do you need AR-15s or a machine gun? What people are calling assault weapons? Answer. Mind your business. With the argument for the word assault weapons to be in our psyche, we have heard the lowest argument of the definition being a gun that has more than 5 bullets in the chamber, to some going as far to saying the AK-47. Exactly, why would you need these weapons? We are asked. Now this is the question we have been hearing for a while now. The answer is quickly our first USA motto. Mind your business. Liberty does not need a reason to be a liberty or a human right that we have. Why would Rosa Parks needed to be in the front of the bus instead of the back? It's not a need, but as much as a liberty for us to have so. To complicate the answer, we have came up with many reasons to have AR-15s, or what people like to call assault weapons, though. Self-defense, because you will be begging for a machine gun if a gang of thugs comes to your home. Also for competitive and recreational shooting. The home security, because some do need bigger guns and multiple firing bullet weapons, because they are old and cannot aim properly, but still need to protect themselves. This is a great reason on why we would need so-called assault weapons, because the elderly actually can pick up an AR-15 that weighs less than a gallon of milk and use it to fire at multiple assailants that are trying to burglarize them or kill them or rape them. Very great reason for the elderly to have those weapons. Also, when there are multiple bad guys, you need to be able to take down as many as possible in a short amount of time. Wolves and bear packs, if you have ever seen a pack of wolves, you surely have seen a reason to own a gun that can fire ammo quickly. Another reason for assault weapons would be disaster preparedness. Also, the assertion of the U.S. constitutional and state constitutional rights, because you do need to exercise your rights for them to actually be considered rights. It's completely true, because if you can't exercise your rights, they are not actually rights that you have. A lot of people do not understand that, wanting to restrict the gun ownership of many, and that does strip the liberties away from many. So it is very important to understand that. Also, for the assertion to learn about safety and responsibility, and to learn about mechanics and the interworking relationships of moving parts. Also, conformity is dangerous. We have seen this in so many totalitarian dictatorships that have called for firearms to be banned and led to many people's deaths. And most importantly, the reason why we are to have so-called assault weapons is because it is our God-given natural human right to own an armament. The right to protect oneself is what makes a free society. Without weapons to protect oneself, and being able to choose which armament is right for you, you have the equality of the life of a slave. Hoping people in charge will protect you, or have not banned the weapon that you will need to defend yourself. We have the right to armaments and to protect ourselves. The fact is, the Second Amendment is very clear. The right to bear armaments shall not be infringed. And now, I know at this point, some gun grabbers are really asking, well, what about the part of the Second Amendment that reads, a well-regulated militia? Well, this just shows that nobody looked into the intent when asking such a question. In the District of Columbia versus Heller in 2008, the ruling showed the intent of the Second Amendment, which they held the amendment protects the individual's right to possess and carry firearms, ruling the Second Amendment was not intended for only those in the militias. The whole fact that we are discussing the idea of not trusting law-abiding civilians with certain firearms is truly humiliating, quoting Patrick Henry, as this is the reason we have the whole process of having due process of law, so that nobody can take our property if we have done nothing of violence or anything of wrongdoing. Quote, are we at last brought to such humiliating and debasing degradation that we cannot be trusted with arms for our defense? End quote. Patrick Henry. Also, the detested saying, these are weapons of war, not for self-defense, is quickly dismantled when we learn of all the times assault weapons, not a real word, were used for self-defense. On February 27, 2018, an NRA gun instructor used an AR-15 to stop an attacker. Also, big rifles were used in the Los Angeles riots in 1992 in Koreatown. The store owner used AK-47 for self-defense in Ohio. And a lot more stories are all over the country as well. Sadly, unable to go every single instance. But these are definitely self-defense weapons. Usually even more self-defense. Because usually, once a criminal sees these weapons, they run before a shot is even fired. The right to bear armament has been a great tool for many people to defend themselves from murderers, burglars, rapists, and also kidnappers. The court even recently have ruled in favor of all weapons, even weapons not created at the founding of the Second Amendment. In Calatino versus Massachusetts, 2016, the Supreme Court reiterated its earlier rulings that the Second Amendment extends prima facie to all instruments that constitute bearable arms, even those that were not existent at the time of the founding, and that its protection is not limited to only those weapons useful in warfare. If the fundamental right of self-defense does not protect Canito, Justice Alito added, then the safety of all Americans is left to the mercy of the state authorities, who may be more concerned about disarming the people than about keeping them safe. While Catano versus Massachusetts was about the legality of stun guns, it does answer the question if new weapons are ruled to be secure under the Second Amendment. While the argument that they could not have foresaw the weapons we have nowadays really is a lie, because the first machine gun was created in 1718. While the gun grabbers like to make people scared of guns, the truth is, criminals should be the most afraid. The facts are clear. These are defense weapons that you will want when you find yourself in a situation that calls for defense for yourself, your family, and your property. Now, this has been Brandon Immel with Liberty. I hope you have a great day. Bye.